Just for the record, I went to record all this the first time, and instead of recording it, just streamed it all live onto my boyfriend's Twitch account. So, oh, sorry, I streamed it all live onto my fiance's Twitch account. Oops. Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Excited to have you here. Today we are going to do a major thrift haul. I have a bunch of stuff I've been collecting that we're going to look through and style up into some cute outfits. We do have an academic theme to the video today, so I thought this was a good chance to get a little educational. So welcome in, students. Class is going to be in session. But before we dive into this pile of clothes, we're not just gonna jump in blind. It occurred to me that a lot of the items I like to pick out, while varied, do sort of tend to fall under this academic umbrella. We've all heard a lot about dark academia lately. That's sort of the aesthetic that's been all over Pinterest and TikTok and even Animal Crossing islands. But I do think there are a lot of adjacent styles that are just as worth exploring. So before we start on this journey, we will need a roadmap. And for that, we need some rules. I know rules can be a very controversial topic in fashion. And I do too believe that fashion should have no rules. No one should feel constrained when it comes to defining their own style and expressing themselves through their clothes. So that's the first lesson of today, is that rules aren't stifling. They're guidelines, which can be very freeing, because once you have some simple rules to follow, you can then sort of experiment to your heart's content within those boundaries while staying true to the subculture or aesthetic that you're trying to curate. Let's start coming up with some rules. I do think there are a lot of subcategories that define academic. There's the collegiate vibe, and by this I do not mean sweatpants and messy buns, even though that's what I wore for most of college. This is more the vintage side of things, like Letterman's jackets and berets and worn leather. You know, you think of old libraries and stone buildings. There's a lot of layers going on with collars and neckties. You can think of Oxford University, and also Oxford shoes, I think, are very appropriate for this. And there's more the professor side of things as well. Tweeds and elbow pads and blazers. In this style, we tend to see a lot of cardigans and knits, rich neutrals, things like that. And if we're thinking of Oxford and sort of Ivy League, there's also the other side of that, which is more prep school. To me, this is more feminine silhouettes, more pastels and fun colors. There tends to be simple patterns involved, like plaids and argyles. And this also tends to have a lot of 90s and 2000s vibes, thanks to movies like Clueless and Legally Blonde. And also this preppy style was sort of one of the main influences in the fashion of the time. So on the other side of the preppy is also prep school. This tends to be more uniform-inspired things. We're once again seeing lots of layers, simple color palettes yet again. These color palettes tend to be more primary colors, a lot of navies, reds, yellows. Once again, we have the practical shoes, we have the collars and neckties, we have layers going on. And so using sort of all these different categories, we can look and see what they all have in common, what our through lines are, and that's how we're going to come up with our set of rules. So I think first for our academic aesthetic is layers and textures. Cardigans, sweater vests, tweeds, blazers. We're going to look for all these things to sort of help create that visual language. Rule number 2, we're going to look for collars and neckties. These collars can be button downs, turtlenecks, and all kinds of ties and bows can fit into this category here. Rule number 3 is practical footwear. These aren't businessmen, you know, these are students and teachers, so people who are running around campus all day. So I think keeping to flat shoes like Oxfords and loafers really help us hit that look that we're going for. Rule number 3, I think, is a limited color palette, whether that be pastels or primaries or neutrals or dark colors. You sort of only want to stick to a couple, and simple classic patterns. We're going to mainly look for things like plaids, argyles, and stripes. And for rule number 5, I think just as an overall look, we want to go for dressier pieces with a casual attitude. We are looking for, like I said, the button-ups, the blazers, perhaps some dress pants, but you're not running into meetings, you're not making any business deals. This is still just very young and free and laid back. And I think that sort of juxtaposition is what really defines the style for me. So with all that in mind, let's jump right into this pile of clothes and see all the outfits we can put together. For this first set of outfits, I paired items with rich colors that had vintage inspirations but were overall modern. I started with a burnt orange sweater, originally from Forever 21, but I found it at Goodwill. Sticking with the stripes, I paired it with an undershirt to add visual interest to the cuff and collars, and I paired that with a black suede skirt to add more rich texture. A possible accessory for this could be a Western-style bow tie. For the next look, I paired this plaid skirt from H&M I found out while thrifting with this dark plum 100% cashmere sweater I got for like $4. That is so incredibly soft. I added an embroidered collar for a layered effect, and possible accessories are a cameo style necklace and a nice warm scarf. This next round, I stuck to pastel colors and feminine details. I paired a plaid pencil skirt with a soft pink cardigan, both thrift finds, and added a lace collar and bow for the belt for some feminine touches. Possible accessories are some pearls for that I got admitted on my grandparents' legacy and this is the jewelry I inherited from them vibe. The next look starts with this pussy bow and frilled sleeve top that definitely gives me 90s vibes a la Seinfeld puffy shirt. I paired it with this pink skirt and mint green cardigan from Target, which is one of the very few items in this video that I actually purchased new. Possible accessories are this iridescent belt and shoes for a fun modern pop, even though I totally forgot to wear them when I modeled this outfit. looks, I made use of navy items I had found that had a youthful feel. I purchased this dress at Value Village that I think might have actually been a uniform at some point. I paired that with this oversized sweater that gave me Letterman jacket vibes because of the stripes on the sleeves, and for once I don't feel like I need to explain the cat hair. I paired that with a Peter Pan collar, also this red necktie and black beret to make the whole blavy color palette make sense. The next look is this amazing sweater vest with adorable cherry detail, layered over top of this short sleeve white button down. I paired it with this navy skirt with button front detail, although I thought about also pairing it with this yellow plaid one as an alternative. Accessories are what I'm going to call this anime style bow tie because I don't actually know what it's called. And lastly, this matching jacket with red trim for that structured uniform look. For these last looks, I utilized the more vintage feeling pieces I had found, as well as those with neutral tones. I started out with a taupe colored A-line skirt, paired with this 100% silk blouse, only made more amazing by the fact that it was covered in tiny ducks. To help fit the brief, I threw this sweater vest over top and felt like Mary Poppins turned history teacher. You might recognize these pants from my previous thrift haul video. I paired them with this burgundy turtleneck recently snatched up from Goodwill, and I threw this extra long cardigan over top. To complete the look, I added a leather satchel and a pendant necklace that reminded me of an old school pocket watch. I think this was an interesting experiment. I think beyond just looking and understanding at what defines a style, I hope it shows you that you really can curate a wardrobe with signature elements and create a personal aesthetic while still having a lot of versatility and freedom within that wardrobe. I hope this made fashion seem a little more approachable. And I hope it inspired you to go through your own closet and see what sort of outfits you can create. And I think on a secondary note, these were all thrifted items for the most part, pretty much all found at local Goodwills and Value Villages for really cheap, and I hope it shows you that you can participate in current and modern trends without participating in fast fashion or worrying too much about your budget. I do have a little bit of an announcement for the end of this video. I really enjoyed doing these and making this content for you all, but I'm still a long way off from those sponsored videos and ad revenue. And I do have big plans for future videos that involve exploring all kinds of styles on the historic and fantasy side, and it involves a lot of materials and supplies. And so there's a link in the description for my coffee page. For the price of just buying me a coffee, you can help support future videos like this and keep this channel afloat, so I hope you'll consider checking that out. Also in the description, there's a link to a Pinterest board with all the images from the video today if you'd like to take another look at those for some inspiration. And as always, you can find me, VICSIN, on Instagram and Twitter for some more daily content. And I can't wait as we continue down this journey together. Let's see what we create next time. Be sure to leave a comment below to let me know which of these outfits were your favorite, and also let me know what styles you would like to see me explore in future videos. Yeah, that's going in the end now.
Don't.
Yeah. I gotta have something.
Maybe one where you're like, you got your hands out like you're pointing to like the different outfits or something that are gonna be around your head, of course.
Alright, this is what's going into the end of the video. Oh, I can't put my hands out that far.